Okay, so let's talk about something. There's speculation that Intellivision Entertainment might be entering bankruptcy, and before they do, they're going to sell off some of their assets. That's pure speculation, but if they did, could they sell the original Intellivision games, logo, trademarks, that sort of thing? Do they even own it? So let's go to their offering details from Start Engine to see if this is even a possibility. So it gives us some history. Here on page 4, it tells you how in 84, Mattel decided that they weren't going to do the Intellivision. So former senior vice president of marketing, Terrence Valesky, $20 million, he bought it and formed Intellivision Inc. That turned eventually into Intellivision Corporation, and they made the Intellivision System 3. They made Monster Truck Rally for the NES, but by 1991, they filed for bankruptcy. Fast forward to 97, two former Mattel Electronic engineers, Keith Robinson and Stephen Rooney, buy the rights of the Intellivision assets, and they formed Intellivision Productions, and they released the games on computers, on compilations for various systems, on plug and plays, stuff like that. Then fast forward 20 years to 2017, Keith Robinson tragically passes away. With the support of Steve Rooney of Intellivision Productions, the original Intellivision game assets and trademarks were purchased by Intellivision Entertainment LLC in 2018, led by Tommy Tallarico. As part of the transaction, Stephen Rooney was appointed to the board. So according to this, and we'll get into more details, Intellivision Entertainment did indeed buy the rights to the Intellivision logo, trademarks, the original library. This is something theoretically that if they wanted to, they could sell as an asset ahead of time to raise some money, or it's something that if they went to bankruptcy could be on the auction block. Let's go ahead. Let's go to page 31 of this details and look at this. Who is the owner right now of Intellivision Entertainment? Tommy Tallarico. He has 28.8% shares of the stock. Stephen Rooney, and this might have been given to him as part of selling it, he has 23% of the stock. So the guy who had the rights to the Intellivision and sold it to Intellivision Entertainment is the second biggest stockholder. Let's go to page 40. So we go to page 40, and let's see, I believe that there is something here about Steve Rooney. Maybe it's page 41. Here we go. Blue Sky Rangers, Inc. So Intellivision Productions is now known as Blue Sky Rangers, Inc. And Stephen Rooney, and it says right here, he sold the Intellivision games, trademarks, rights to Intellivision Entertainment for $150,000. Blue Sky Rangers is 100% owned by Stephen Rooney, a member of the board. So he owns all now of Blue Sky Rangers, but he doesn't own anything as far as the original Intellivision games, stuff like that. I mean, they still sell a lot of Intellivision stuff on eBay. Blue Sky Rangers does, and they've reprinted some cartridges, including some games that were never made for the system, but they no longer own the rights to the game. So we're going to skip ahead to page 55 of this offering details. That was from the Start Engine campaign. And you can see right here, Intellivision says under assets that in 2019, they had assets of $150,000. Maybe that's what they're saying they believe the Intellivision trademarks and games are worth. And then in 2020, that is increased by $100,000 to $250,000. So they could either be saying that they believe the value of those trademarks and games. And by the way, I think that the Intellivision name and the entire library is probably worth more than $150,000. Personally, but I could be wrong. I am not a financial expert. I'm just doing this for entertainment purposes. So this 250 could also include the fact that they acquired the trademarks to Jungle Hunt and Bump and Jump, just the names, not the games. And I did a video about that earlier. So let's go ahead to the next page. And you can see right here in 2020, they made $57,000 in licensing their game. So this could include like the Evercade cartridge. They've done an Intellivision Collection 1 and just announced an Intellivision Collection 2. That's why I say that. I think that, if you're making $50,000 a year off of licensing, I think alone, I think that your IPs are worth more than $150,000 total. My personal thing. So here's what it comes down to. If they are selling assets or come to a point where they need to sell assets, I could see them selling some of their trademarks, some of their original games to other outside investors. For instance, Battlezone was owned by Atari for a long time, and they sold that off to current holder to somebody else. So they no longer owned the Battlezone name, I believe. So they could pick and choose some of the games. So like if an investor was really interested in Cloudy Mountain, they could theoretically, or Night Stalker, they could theoretically sell just that one game off, and then it's no longer theirs to use, or they have an agreement where they sell it, but they could still put it on the Amico if they still think it's even coming out. However, this could also mean that anybody at some point with enough money could buy the Intellivision library. And it's kind of sad because what could happen? Look at ColecoVision. Outside of the ColecoVision flashback, it pretty much went dormant for decades, right? Look at the Vectrex. Like, yeah, us retro gamers know about the Vectrex, but nothing has been done with the games officially, as far as I know, or if it has, it hasn't been a big deal. So it could be a company that just kind of sits on it and licenses out the games here and there. It could be a company like Antstream, which I think Atari owns, where they could buy it and they could say, if you want to play Intellivision, you have to use Antstream to do that. It could something. Microsoft could buy it for their Game Pass. That's a possibility, but then it would be exclusive and you wouldn't have other Intellivision things happening necessarily with it. This could be a sad thing for Intellivision fans, retro gamers, that, you know, Keith Robinson, in my opinion, did a great job stewarding the Intellivision brand for 20 years, making sure it was still out there. Yes, they didn't make it a worldwide phenomenon, but it was still there. Compilations were being released. It was still getting some press around retro gaming circles. I really appreciate what he did. It would be really sad if after his passing, this does go for sale to somebody and someone buys it and they just don't have the heart of a Keith Robinson to keep the Intellivision brand going. So that's it. It's possible that the Intellivision brand, the games, the trademarks, the running man, the assets, they are owned by Intellivision Entertainment, according to this offering details. That means they have the right to sell them, or if they go bankrupt, it could be sold to someone else. And to me, that's a bummer. That's what I think. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I will see you next time.